In my very first Kansas episode over a year ago now, I talked about the poppy and Memorial Day. I do not want to dishonor Memorial Day this year, so I encourage viewers to watch that episode first or again, especially as it was in thinking about the anniversary of the Memorial Day and the poppy that inspired this Oz episode, The Poppy Field. But not so much in response to Memorial Day this time, but instead by the role the poppy played in The Wizard of Oz, which also seems quite pertinent during these times we live in. The poppy has symbolized sleep and death or eternal sleep for a very long time. Opium, the base of all narcotics, comes from the poppy plant. So the poppy has also been used as a drug, both recreationally and as a medicine, since ancient times. And we know that narcotics can make us feel good, but they can also numb pain, or if taken in too large a volume, kill us peacefully. We call it palliative care. In this Oz episode, the story picks up with Dorothy and her friends, the lion, the Tin Woodman, and the Scarecrow, on their way to the Emerald City. They walked along, listening to the singing of the bright-colored birds and looking at the lovely flowers, which now became so thick that the ground was carpeted with them. There were big yellow and white and blue and purple blossoms, besides great clusters of scarlet poppies, which were so brilliant in color they almost dazzled Dorothy's eyes. "Aren't they beautiful?" the girl asked, as she breathed in the spicy scent of the flowers. "I suppose so," answered the Scarecrow. "When I have brains, I shall probably like them better." "If only I had a heart, perhaps I should love them then," added the Tin Woodman. "I always did like flowers," said the lion. "They seem so helpless and frail, but there are none in the forest so bright as these." In Dorothy's story, the poppy was visually dazzling, the scent captivating, and the lion was also taken with the flower. The poppies did not, however, seem to be all that attractive to the Scarecrow, nor to the Tin Woodman. They now came upon more and more of the big scarlet poppies and fewer of the other flowers, and soon they found themselves in the midst of a great meadow of poppies. Now, it is well known that when there are many of these flowers together, their odor is so powerful that anyone who breathes it falls asleep. And if the sleeper is not carried away from the scent of the flowers, he sleeps on and on forever. But Dorothy did not know this, nor could she get away from the bright red flowers that were everywhere about. So presently her eyes grew heavy, and she felt she must sit down to rest and to sleep. But the Tin Woodman would not let her do this. "We must hurry and get back to the road of yellow brick before dark," he said, and the Scarecrow agreed with him. So they kept walking until Dorothy could stand no longer. Her eyes closed in spite of herself, and she forgot where she was and fell among the poppies, fast asleep. So even though it was well known that when there are plentiful enough poppies, their odor can put someone to sleep, and it's also very well known that if the sleeper cannot escape the scent of the flowers, he sleeps on and on forever, Dorothy did not know this. And even if she did, she was surrounded with nothing but poppies in sight. No other signs of life or beauty, no other messages or influences, really no escape from the poppies. I believe we're living in a time where individuals have lost sight of the truth, lost sight of their pursuit of happiness, represented by the hard journey towards a destination, distracted by something temporary in beauty or attraction, then mesmerized by the brightest and loudest of all the distracting flowers, then end up surrounded with no way out. And not even knowing the danger, they're being captivated by something beautiful yet deadly, unaware that the other flowers are now out of sight, choked out by the poppy, yet they are at peace, even though their path is nowhere to be found. And they actually have ventured so far out into the poppy field that by the time they understand the danger, they will be asleep with no way out. Yet, if they stay at peace in the beautiful field, they will surely die and never again see the beauty of the rest of the world they left behind, and without even realizing, they lost their way. So many people are asleep, unaware of the danger they are in. Family and friends who are aware of the dangers that others may not know about have come along to try to prevent their loved ones from falling asleep, as the Tin Woodman and the Scarecrow did with Dorothy. Dorothy, who did not know about the danger. And in order to save their life, by trying to keep her awake. But even with such great friends, the scent was overpowering and Dorothy forgot where she was and fell among the poppies, fast asleep. "What shall we do?" asked the Tin Woodman. "If we leave her here, she will die," said the Lion. "The smell of the flowers is killing us all. I myself can scarcely keep my eyes open, and the dog is asleep already." Those who are simply succumbing to the natural elements, as it were, the poppy field is so attractive, so overwhelming, so overpowering, so inescapable. It's not really their fault, and they might even say, it's so inescapable, we're all gonna die. I don't even know how to escape it, like the Lion was saying. But even so, falling asleep is a death sentence, and even those of us who understand the danger, yet find ourselves in the poppy field with our friends, are susceptible to the power of the beautiful and deadly distraction like the Lion. He, even though understanding the danger, he too could scarcely keep his eyes open. It was true, Toto had fallen down beside his little mistress, but the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman, not being made of flesh, were not troubled by the scent of the flowers. "Run fast," said the Scarecrow to the Lion, "and get out of this deadly flower bed as soon as you can. We will bring the little girl with us, but if you should fall asleep, you are too big to be carried." So the Lion aroused himself and bounded forward as fast as he could go. In a moment, he was out of sight. "Let us make a chair with our hands and carry her," said the Scarecrow. So they picked up Toto and put the dog in Dorothy's lap, and then they made a chair with their hands for the seat and their arms for the arms, and carried the sleeping girl between them through the flowers. But the friends who have not fallen asleep, so the friends of those who have fallen asleep, whether they be accused of having no heart or having no brain, for whatever reason, they are not susceptible. And they shout to the lions out there to run and get out of the field, and they burden themselves by trying to carry their loved ones out of danger. Even though, like Dorothy, some are completely at peace in their deadly slumber. And just like Dorothy, they do not and cannot appreciate the fact her friends were trying to save her life. On and on they walked, and it seemed that the great carpet of deadly flowers that surrounded them would never end. They followed the bend of the river, and at last came upon their friend the Lion, lying fast asleep among the poppies. The flowers had been too strong for the huge beast, and he had given up at last and fallen only a short distance from the end of the poppy bed, where the sweet grass spread in beautiful green fields before them. "We can do nothing for him," said the Tin Woodman sadly, "for he is much too heavy to lift. We must leave him here to sleep on forever, and perhaps he will dream that he has found courage at last." Even though the Lion knew about the danger, he still fell asleep. Even though he was running so fast to escape before the danger overwhelmed his senses, he could not outrun the captivating drug. He almost made it. He was so close, but he ended up trapped at the edge of the poppy field in the deadly slumber himself. Even those who are not yet asleep can fall into a deadly slumber. And because they're so big, maybe they're an influencer who got trapped before making it back to the green fields, or maybe their reputation of resistance is more than we know how to deal with. But because they're so heavy, like the Lion, there's nothing we little people can do to wake them up. "I'm sorry," said the Scarecrow. "The Lion was a very good comrade for one so cowardly. But let us go on." Even our best friends can fall asleep. Even the ones who previously and just recently saved us from the Kalidas, who roared in the face of the loudest and scariest enemies. Do you know someone who's been captivated by something in society today, been distracted by the dazzling colors, entranced by the scent of empty promises? Do you know someone who is asleep, who fell asleep without realizing the danger? Someone who might be at peace for the first time in a long time, seduced away from the pain of reality and truth. Maybe your best friends are at risk of falling asleep and you are shouting at them to leave the poppy field. Maybe you are carrying your friends through to the other side, but it seems like an impossible task. Don't be discouraged. It seemed like the great carpet of deadly flowers that surrounded the Scarecrow and the Tin Man would never end. But it did. And Dorothy eventually woke up, but not right away. And maybe you are wondering what it means to be asleep or to fall asleep in this context. Maybe you are the one sleeping. Maybe you were running to escape the poppy field and find your way back, but as we continually adapt to the new normal, you lost sight of the goal, became sleepy to the point of no longer caring or understanding the danger, susceptible to the good feeling and with a desire for peace. Maybe you, like the lion, need someone to come back to rescue you, but it seems as though your friends left you to die peacefully, and you're just now realizing it. The reality is, with all the division in society on so many levels in so many different areas and all the mixed messages and misinformation and disinformation out there, it is possible you believe you are the friend helping, when in reality, you are the sleeping friend too heavy to rescue. Or maybe you are Dorothy, who has no idea what the danger is of which I speak. Or Toto, just along for the ride. But maybe you are the Scarecrow, accused of having no brains. But because of your nature, you were never susceptible to falling asleep. Or maybe you are the Tin Man, accused of having no heart. But because of your nature, you were never susceptible to falling asleep. Whomever you are, or believe yourself to be, remember the sleeping victims are your friends. So have empathy for your accusers, because they are already asleep, and because of their nature, they never really had a chance. And remember, this is the world according to Dorothy. And yes, after a long break, I am back. So please subscribe and stay tuned for an update about what that means exactly.